CBCP fight song. I am so proud of you. Now you're back in advisory, and you are going to hear a message from a very special individual. You're about to see a video from Nfne. He is an amazing founding teacher here at Chicago Bulls College Prep, and he has thus moved on and now works at the whole Noble Network level, but his lessons and the things that he started here, they are still very much a part of this school. So he is going to talk all about no fear, no embarrassment, so listen up. He's got some great things to say. Enjoy. Love you.
Today. No fear, no embarrassment. The concept came from a book that I read probably in 2001. I think it was after Coach K, who's the head basketball coach at Duke University. They just won the national championship this year. He's a 5-time national champion. When they won the national championship, I believe in 2000 or 2001, he wrote a book about that team. And within that team, he felt the need, because of insecurities and fears that he felt like existed among some of his players, he felt the need to institute a rule called the no fear, no embarrassment zone. And what that zone meant was, when you got into the basketball game, you better show him that you've trusted in your hard work, that you are not apprehensive, you're not passive, you're not fearful. And if he senses that at all, he would take you out of the game. And so when you got in that game, you were to show no fear whatsoever. But when mistakes happen, because they will, you are not to be embarrassed of that mistake. A lot of times it's an emotional reaction to something that was discouraging, something that took place, something that bothered us. And in sports, being embarrassed, that emotional reaction can be the difference between a win and a loss. If you think too long about that mistake, all of a sudden that thinking process, that 5 seconds, that 10 seconds of embarrassment can lead to the other team winning the game. I've often said to students that embarrassment is a self-inflicted wound. I can't actually embarrass you. You can only feel it, right? You can only feel embarrassment. And embarrassment is a reaction to something that happened that may come from an insecurity or a fear. And I always thought, when I become a coach, that's going to be part of what we do. I want my players to just go out there and play with confidence, to play with no fear, to not let anything get to them. And that's where the concept of no fear, no embarrassment came from. How did no fear, no embarrassment get to Chicago Bulls College Prep? In 2009, when the school first opened, a man by the name of Mr. Kane flew me out to Chicago for an interview. He said, I want the very best physical education program in the city. It's up to you and Mr. Silva, who was the other founding physical education teacher, to figure this out. Prior to coming to Chicago, I was a physical education teacher and a coach at the United States Naval Academy, which is arguably one of the best physical education institutions in all the world. That's just what you do there all day. You work out, you train, you try to get better. Often those students are deemed as some of the best and the brightest in the country, but even they had fear and insecurity when it came to their physical abilities. And so we did a lot at the United States Naval Academy to help them overcome those things. And I thought, when I helped start the physical education program at Bulls Prep, I would love for this to be a part of my class. So Mr. Silva and I sat down and we said, you know what? This is going to be kind of one of our mantras for physical education. No fear, no embarrassment. We are not going to be fearful when we get into that room. We are not going to be embarrassed of who we are as a teacher, who we are as students, what our physical abilities are, and we're going to make sure we do everything that we can to provide an environment in which every student can walk in and go, you know what? I'm going to be okay today, and I'm not going to be afraid of who I am, what I look like. I'm not going to be embarrassed of anything. So we decided to talk about that often and train it. So it kind of naturally just became part of what students talked about often. What are some wonderful examples of no fear, no embarrassment within the context of school? Let me give you a few examples. One, let's talk about being a 9th grader, being a freshman. Some of you tripped going up and down the steps. Some of you on the first day couldn't get your locker open, didn't know anything about locker combinations, and you probably sat there with sweat pouring down your face when you couldn't get that locker open. Or when you tripped going up the steps, you thought, oh my gosh, my life is over. I am now the person that tripped going up the steps trying to get to my next class. You know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Hopefully, if that did happen to you, you had people that went and picked you up right away. I know for the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, that's exactly what they would do. They would pick up your books. They'd pick you up off the ground and say, hey, you're okay, let's go. Because it's not a big deal. Hopefully you had students that helped you along the way with your locker combination. You are now in the 9th grade thinking of things of what am I going to sound like when I answer that first question? Am I going to get it wrong? Am I going to be the person that gets everything wrong now? Is that what, if I raise my hand and I have a wrong answer, are all the teachers going to get together and say, that's the person that always has wrong answers? Absolutely not. What you are going to be encouraged to do is make mistakes. It's okay. Absolutely 100% okay. What's not okay is not trying. What's not okay is not giving the attempt. You will give wrong answers often, but you'll work through it, and teachers will help you work through it. And they'll help you build the skills to overcome any sort of fear or embarrassment that exists within your education. Physical education class is a great example. How many of you 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, when you were in your first physical education class as 9th graders, tried to sneak towards the back a little bit? Tried to make sure that nobody could see you working out. You realize quickly that's just not what we're about here. Nobody cares what you look like. What we do care about is each other. We care about supporting one another through that. In physical education classes, you're going to get to a point where you feel like, well, maybe I'm not as strong as other people. Maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe I won't pass this test. One is that you will pass the test. Two is that it's okay not to be strong at first. It's okay to struggle with exercises. That's part of the educational process. Struggle is one of the best parts of our education. Physical education, the PE classes, are all about recognizing, you know what? Things are difficult at first, but if I just keep working at them little by little by little, and I'm not afraid to work hard at those things just because I'm not good at it, you will realize over time that you'll be able to do any and all exercises that are given to you. You'll be able to pass any and all tests that are put in front of you, and you will realize that you are capable of anything. There's not one 9th grade student here when you first start. There's not one student in the entire school that if you said, you know what, someday I'm going to do a triathlon, someday I'm going to run a marathon, someday I'm going to run an ultra marathon, there's not one person that can't do it. It may take some longer than others to get there, but know that you are capable and we believe in you. There are going to be times that you're going to have to walk into classes and remind yourself of no fear, no embarrassment. There's going to be bad days. There's going to be times in which you feel like you didn't get anything correct all day. You didn't feel like you were speaking well. You're going to wonder, am I really up for all this? And the answer is yes. Every person in that building, every adult in that building believes in you. And they believe in you so much that they're not afraid to give you challenges along the way. And so much of Bulls Prep is about figuring out how many wonderful, beautiful challenges we can give you so that you overcome as many as possible before you leave. And in that process, you're going to develop maturity. You're going to develop a very strong soul, a strong heart, a strong mind, and you're going to realize how much better you became in your 4-year span there. Make no mistakes, almost everything in that school is about the belief that you will overcome every challenge that exists. But please know that those people love you. Those teachers love you. Those assistant principals and principals love you. Those advisors love you. They love you so much that they'll do anything to help you as much as they can in that 4-year process. They too, by the way, have to figure out no fear, no embarrassment. They too have to look in the mirror sometimes and go, am I a good teacher or not? I love these kids so much. I want to do great things. but am I really as good as I should be? And so we often had to talk to teachers too and say, you know what? We have to live a life of no fear and no embarrassment. We have to show them that we're vulnerable. We have to show them that we make mistakes, that we fail, and that we'll do whatever we can to overcome them ourselves. No fear, no embarrassment is not just about you. How can you help your friends, your classmates? How can you help them understand their own fears, recognize their fears? What can you do on a daily basis to help others not feel embarrassed of who they are, or what they've done, or what their answer was, or how they did in class? Our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure. You've heard that quote before. Our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we are powerful beyond measure. And so, in order for all of our students to get better, our brightest and our smartest have to raise their hand often. They have to give answers often. They have to make others better with the intelligence that they possess. So if I had to sum up no fear, no embarrassment for Chicago Bulls College Prep, it simply means that it's okay to be you. It's okay to have fears. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to fail. What's not okay is not helping each other through it. Bulls Prep is a safe place. It's a place where you don't have to worry about what other people think. You're not scared of other people. You're not scared mentally. You're not scared emotionally. And you're certainly not scared physically of anybody else. It's a place where you can express your ideas. It's a place where you can learn about yourself. It's a place where you can discover who you are. And it's a place that you can feel good about being educated on a daily basis without worrying about the effects of your talents. It's a place where you can excel to the greatest of your ability. It's okay to be awesome. It's okay to be fantastic. It's also okay to make mistakes. But along the way, you know, and you are not afraid of having any lack of support from your advisory brothers and sisters, from your classmates, and certainly your teachers. It's a very, very safe place. And it's a place where we want to do whatever we can to make sure that you have the environments that's going to allow you to grow mentally, emotionally, and physically.